The first thing people noticed was the noise. The deep, rolling thunder of motorcycle engines echoed through the small Midwestern town like an approaching storm. Windows rattled, conversations paused, heads turned. Parents instinctively pulled their children closer as dozens of leather-clad riders rolled down Main Street, chrome flashing under the afternoon sun. Most people saw danger. But Ethan Miller, a skinny 8-year-old with scuffed sneakers and a backpack too big for his shoulders, saw something else entirely: hope. Ethan stood outside a gas station, pretending to study a rack of candy bars. His eyes were wide, but not with excitement. They were tired, the kind of tired no child should ever carry. Purple shadows sat beneath them, and his small hands trembled as he clutched a crumpled dollar bill. Behind him, inside the station, his mother argued with the cashier in a hushed but sharp voice. Her words were slurred. The smell of alcohol followed her everywhere now. It hadn't always been this way. There was a time when she laughed more than she yelled, when Ethan fell asleep to bedtime stories instead of broken glass and slammed doors. That time felt like another lifetime. Ethan had learned to be quiet, to stay small, to survive. But today was different. The rumble of motorcycles grew louder as the group slowed, engines idling in a long, intimidating line. The patch on their backs read Hell's Angels in bold red letters, wings stretched wide beneath a skull. People stared. Some crossed the street. Others whispered. Ethan swallowed hard. He remembered something his teacher once said during a school safety talk. If you're ever in danger and can't speak, signal for help. She had shown them how to tuck their thumb into their palm and fold their fingers over it. A small motion, easy to miss. A silent scream. Ethan's heart pounded as he glanced back at the gas station door. His mother's voice rose, angry now. He flinched. Then, slowly, carefully, he raised his hand. Thumb tucked, fingers folded. He held it there for just a second. Across the street, Jack Bear Callahan was removing his helmet. Jack was everything people feared when they saw the Hells Angels. 6'4", broad shoulders, gray-streaked beard. A jagged scar ran from his eyebrow to his cheek, a souvenir from a life lived hard and fast. Tattoos crawled up his arms like stories written in ink, some violent, some sacred. Jack had buried friends. He had made mistakes. He had seen the worst of humanity. And somehow, because of that, he noticed the small things others missed, like the way a little boy was holding his hand. Jack froze. For a moment, the world narrowed to that single gesture. A child's hand clenched in fear. Not a wave, not a fist, a plea. Jack's stomach tightened. "Hold up," he muttered. The other riders noticed his sudden stillness. Engines cut, helmets turned. "What is it, Bear?" one of them asked. Jack didn't answer right away. His eyes never left Ethan. The boy dropped his hand quickly, panic flashing across his face. He looked away, pretending to be fascinated by a vending machine. But the damage was done. Jack had seen him, and Jack Callahan did not ignore cries for help, spoken or silent. Jack crossed the street. The crowd tensed as his heavy boots hit the pavement. A woman pulled out her phone, already recording. A man whispered, "That kid's in trouble." Ethan felt the shadow fall over him before he looked up. Jack crouched down, bringing himself eye level with the boy. The scent of leather and gasoline mixed with something unexpected, warm coffee and mint. "Hey there, little man," Jack said softly. His voice was gravelly but gentle. "You okay?" Ethan shook his head just barely. Jack nodded, as if he already knew the answer. "You did that hand thing," Jack said quietly, demonstrating the signal. "That means you need help, right?" Tears welled in Ethan's eyes. "Yes, sir," he whispered. Jack exhaled slowly. "All right," he said. "You're not alone. Anymore." Inside the gas station, Ethan's mother stormed out, eyes blazing. "What do you think you're doing?" she snapped. "Get away from my son." Jack stood up, placing himself between her and the boy, not aggressively, but protectively. "Ma'am," Jack said calmly, "I'm concerned about the kid." "He's fine," she shouted. "Mind your own business." The other riders began to dismount, forming a loose, silent line behind Jack. Big men, tattoos, beards, faces that had stared down danger without blinking. The crowd grew. Jack kept his voice even. "Kid asked for help." Ethan's mother laughed bitterly. "Help? From you people?" Jack didn't flinch. "Sometimes," he said, "help comes from places you don't expect." Someone in the crowd called the police. Another filmed from a different angle. The tension thickened the air. Ethan clutched the back of Jack's vest, his small fingers gripping the leather like it was a lifeline. Jack felt it, and something inside him cracked open. He remembered being 10 years old, hiding bruises under long sleeves, remembered wishing, praying that someone would notice. No one had. Not for him, but for this boy, this time would be different. When the police arrived, Jack stepped back but didn't leave. He explained what he saw. So did Ethan, voice shaking but steady enough to be heard. The officers listened, the crowd watched, and slowly the truth came out. Neglect, drinking, nights alone, fear. Ethan's mother slumped against the wall, anger melting into something hollow and broken. Child services were called. Ethan was led away, tears streaming down his face as he looked back at Jack. Jack knelt again. "Hey," he said, pressing a small angel pin into Ethan's palm. "This isn't goodbye. This is just the start of things getting better." Ethan nodded, holding the pin like treasure. Weeks passed. The video went viral. "Hell's Angel Saves Boy," the headlines read. People were shocked, confused, some were angry, but many were moved. Jack didn't care about any. What he cared about was the phone call he received one evening. "Mr. Callahan?" a social worker said. "Ethan asked if he could see you." Jack sat in silence for a long moment. "Yeah," he finally said. "I'd like that." They met at a park. Ethan ran into Jack's arms like he'd known him his whole life. He looked healthier, brighter, safer. "I did what you said," Ethan said proudly. "I asked for help." Jack smiled, eyes shining. "And you were brave as hell." From that day on, Jack showed up. School events, birthdays, baseball games. The Hell's Angels showed up too. Big bikers sitting on tiny bleachers, applauding louder than anyone. High-fiving kids who had never been high-fived before. The town slowly changed. People stopped crossing the street. They started waving. Years later, Ethan stood at a podium, grown taller but still carrying that angel pin in his pocket. "I used to think help had to look a certain way," he said, voice steady. "But I learned that kindness doesn't wear one uniform. Sometimes it wears leather, sometimes it rides loud, and sometimes it saves your life." In the back of the room, Jack wiped his eyes. The world hadn't changed overnight, but one boy's silent signal and one biker's decision to answer it had proven something powerful. Humanity lives in the moments we choose to see each other, and sometimes the most unlikely angels are the ones with wings stitched on their backs.